What do we need to work through the examples in this course? SQL Developer can be installed as a self-contained piece of software that allows us to access a database locally or on a database server, most commonly on a database server, and then allows us to program PLSQL, which is what this course is all about. So let's examine this. So back at Oracle's website, I'm going to go to the Downloads link, and I'm going to go to Database, and I'm going to click See All. Now, if I wanted to download the software and install it, I would have to go to this link up here and find the database link, database 12c, Enterprise Standard Editions, and I would basically download one of these versions here. I'd have to click Accept here, click See All for the 64-bit version for Windows 7, and at a minimum, I would want to download the Windows 64-bit client. Here's a 32-bit client, which obviously applies to a 32-bit operating system. We can also download the entire database and install a database locally on a Windows machine, but that's really complicated and well out of the scope of this course. Installing the Windows client is out of the scope of this course because it gets a little bit complicated with installing with Windows, particularly Windows 7 and Windows Security. And there are a few other steps involved as well. It doesn't really have a lot to do with PLSQL. It's more administration than anything else, which is for another course. Let's go and look at SQL Developer because that is applicable to this particular course. SQL Developer means Oracle SQL Code Developer, a little bit like the product that used to be used called Toad, which is now still used but is not quite as widely used anymore, particularly with Oracle, because Oracle gives away the tool called SQL Developer, which is more than adequate for the task. So I'm going to click on this link, and I have to accept it because that's what Oracle wants. I have to be logged into this site. When you try to download something and you go to a page like this, it will ask you to log in. You can actually create a free account. So what I actually have here is all the current versions, obviously for Windows 3264, for Mac, for Linux. Different people use different interfaces or different operating systems, if you like. I am going to download. It says JDK 8 is required. In the past, I would have actually downloaded a version of SQL Developer that did not require the JDK 8. In other words, you don't have to install it separately. For this version, it appears that you have to do that. Installing Java is also out of scope for this course. Essentially, you'd have to download JDK 8, you'd have to install it, and you'd have to set certain variables in Windows to allow SQL Developer to point to the Java code. So let's go and download this. And I have to log in here. I'm going to save this file. That's going to take a little while. So whilst that's downloading, what we can go and look at the installation notes, and it will give us a clue what to do. You download the file, you extract the zip file, and you basically create an executable inside the zip file that you created. Let's wait for the download to finish. So my download is done. I'm going to click here. I'm going to show all downloads. I'm going to open the containing folder. I'm going to copy this file because I don't like to leave it in there. Sometimes things go bye-bye when you don't expect. So what you have to do to install SQL Developer is really what you need to do is you need to go into the program files directory and expand the zip file into a subdirectory. It will probably put itself into subdirectory anyway. I have an older version, which is a 32-bit version, under my program x86, which is the 32-bit program files directory. This is not a Windows course, so we're not going into that. So we're basically double-clicking there and going in here. Here we actually have a self-contained SQL Developer installation of an older version of SQL Developer. Basically, all I do is I run it as an open exe, and it runs SQL Developer for me. So I now have SQL Developer downloaded. What I would want to do is I want to copy and paste it. And because this particular user I'm recording under is called Oracle, it is not my standard username. So I'd actually have to log in as my admin user in order to install SQL Developer and Java in the right place. All I did was I copied this piece of software, SQL Developer, says no JRE, happens to be 64-bit. So it goes into program files, and essentially it's a zip file. I just extract it, and it will extract automatically into this directory and that subdirectory. Has all these goodies here. It will not run by itself. What I have to do is also install Java. So going back to the Oracle website, Java is now owned by Oracle because Oracle took over Sun Microsystems. So back to the website. If you can recall, there's a little button here called JDK8. That will actually download, well, it'll take you to the point where you can download it. And we're going to scroll down here. So here I would download this file, which if I go up to my downloads, I've already done the download. What I did was I showed all downloads. I went into here. I took the file and I copied and I pasted it into my temp directory. And as the Windows administrative user, which is not the current user I'm recording under, I would have right-clicked, run as administrator, and installed it. That installation, because it's 64-bit, would have gone into the program files directory, which is, as you can see, it has. When you first go into the new installation of SQL Developer, by clicking on this executable, it will ask you to put in the class path. The class path should be the directory inside this Java developer. I think it's the JDK directory, Java Development Kit. JRE stands for Java Runtime Environment. It appears that SQL Developer needs the JDK, and I think what you do is you simply copy paste this path and plop it into the class path.